Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you guys are back here with me this week. This week I'm going to be discussing the topic of lessons that can be learned from betrayal. Betrayal is something that I feel like maybe not a lot of people have dealt with. Me personally, I have experienced betrayal. I know some people that have. I don't know how common betrayal is. I would hope that it's not that common, but it does happen. But I'm just going to go ahead and just give a basic definition of what betrayal means. A betrayal is just basically the violation of trust by somebody that's close, and that can be like, anybody that you're in relationship, whether it's, relationship with, whether it's somebody, romantic relationship or, just friendship. I feel like mine personally was friendship wise, but it most definitely can happen in a capacity of a relationship, like an intimate relationship or whatever. I just, I think everybody kind of knows that yes, Jesus was betrayed, and it was one of the main reasons why he ended up on the cross, which something so negative happened, but I'm so grateful that it happened because, he died on the cross for my sins, and that was amazing. But however, the betrayal itself was by somebody that was so close to him, somebody that was in an intimate space, somebody that he called friend, and somebody that he entrusted a lot of information with, somebody that he ate with, somebody that he spent quality time with, somebody that he taught, somebody that he loved. So could you imagine it being somebody that you care about so much, and they basically turn and turn you in to people and just sell you out completely for 30 pieces of silver? For me personally, I would have been upset, livid. Now, it doesn't exactly go into details about how Jesus dealt with the emotions that came with it, but I can only imagine that, he was dealing with hurt, he was dealing with pain, he was just dealing with just anger too, because I know me personally, a lot of the emotions that I felt dealing with betrayal was anger, it was hurt, it was frustration, and it was really, really hard for me to kind of get over, because I just was constantly dwelling on the situation and just playing it back, and I can only imagine that type of, situation that Jesus is dealing with, given he already knew, but I know that there was probably still some part of him that was really saddened by the fact that somebody would do such a thing. But he still handled the situation, of course, with grace and with love and compassion, and that's something that I just find intense, because I don't think it's something that I probably would have been able to do personally. But I'm grateful that we serve a God that is compassionate, that is loving, and willing to do such things. So one of the first lessons that I feel can be learned from betrayal is how to respond to it. Now, like I said, it wasn't really like a lot of I read this story from Matthew chapter 26, and basically, is in verse 50, it was like, after Judas walked up on Jesus and, identified him with the kiss, which is known as the Judas kiss, identified him with the kiss, and they came and kind of took him away. And Jesus referred to him, he said, friend, like, why are you here? And in my head, I was just in awe that Jesus still called him friend, because me personally, I would not have been calling him friend. I would have probably been calling him everything under the sun, because you done sold me out. You got these people getting ready to take me away. You about to start a riot, like there's about to be a riot started smack here in the middle of this little court area that they're in, or wherever the area they were at. Like, you done started all this mess because you decided to sell me out for 30 pieces of silver. And then I would also be offended that it was only 30 pieces of silver and not more, because we all know Jesus was worth far more than 30 pieces of silver. I would have been offended. I really would have. Appalled, quite honestly, because I'm worth more than 30 pieces of silver. I would have felt some type of way about that. But once again, Jesus is not like me, and I'm grateful that Jesus is not like me, because Lord knows a lot of people probably would have been messed up if Jesus was like me. So nonetheless, the first lesson that can be learned from betrayal most definitely is how to respond to it. And I just feel like that is something that for me personally, when I was going through it, it took a lot of prayer. it forced me to, spend a lot of time with God, because there were a lot of emotions that came with that. Whether it was the anger, it was the pain, it was the frustration. I was just overwhelmed with the emotions from betrayal, that it forced me to literally seek God for healing, because if it was not for God, I would not have been able to get through that on my own. That season in my life, I prayed so much, just asking for God to just relieve the pain and for me to be able to forgive. I know I, probably had to go back and forgive 2, 3, 4 times, because I would get myself so riled up in my head again that I was angry all over again, and I had to keep going back and forgiving and keep going back and just working through those emotions. But like, the emotions were so intense. I had never experienced emotions that intense towards individuals like I did with betrayal. That was just something that was just so crazy to me, because I've never been that angry. I've never been that hurt, and a mix of hurt, angry, and just frustrated, and just like kind of like really in my head over a situation. But nonetheless, I was, and that was a time where like I realized that I had to really depend on Jesus and God to really get me through that. The second lesson that can be learned is that it's not personal. Now, this is something that can probably be like a hard pill to swallow, because you're like, what do you mean it's not personal? They intentionally did what they did. But it's a situation where, hurt people. And, some people are just in a place where they're just genuinely unhappy. And when they kind of see you as no longer being of a benefit to them, they kind of just do things. And in that way, they kind of just leave a whole path of destruction in that sense. And it may not have anything to directly deal with you. It's just them acting out on that hurt. And yes, I'm not justifying that. I'm not saying that it's right, but it's kind of just like it's just kind of like a situation where you just kind of take one for the team type situation. But I mean, still very painful, but learning that, people are human. And I think that's where the grace and love that Jesus shows us kind of comes into play, because I feel like that, when people are hurting, you're praying and you're just like trusting that God will heal them while he also heals you as well, so that they don't go and do that to another person. The third lesson that I feel you can learn from this is that it can really just be an answer to a prayer. Now, this is going to sound crazy, because you're like, nobody prays to be betrayed. Wait a minute. So for me personally, I have never really been the person to pray about like everybody that enters my life, and being intentional about, the people that I let into my close circle, or people that I let have access to me. I've been very like, oh, I'll just accept everybody, and just really just take in everybody and anybody and not really think twice about it. However, for people who are growing in Christ and they're going to the next level, and they're, kind of like ranking up in the spiritual realm, everybody can't go with you to those next levels. There are going to be some seasons where you have to walk them alone. There are going to be some seasons where you can only have 1 or 2 people that are going to be close to you. There's some seasons where you can have a whole gang of people, and that's just how it works sometimes. And in that, as you are, going through those different seasons and things like that, God will remove certain people that can't go to the next level with you, whether or not it's a situation where they're not ready to go to that level, or they just genuinely cannot go through that level, or they can't go through that season of your life with you. And so he will remove them. And yes, this is a painful way for people to be removed. However, some of the situations is, because I know me, and if it wasn't for situations like betrayal, and it wasn't situations where God forced me to let go of people because they hurt me, they wouldn't be removed. Like, I probably would still be dealing with some of the people if it wasn't a situation where he forced me to genuinely let them go and basically allowed them to hurt me so that I can genuinely let go. And so that's like a lesson that can be learned. Sometimes it's just the answer to prayers, and that some people can't go to the next level with you, as painful as that may be, but that's the truth of the matter. And then the last lesson that I have for you all is that it can just be another layer of breaking. And when I say this is, if you look at some of my early videos, I have this breaking so God can re-heal you situation, or a video. And basically it's a situation where God has to kind of strip you of everything and kind of just break you down to the bare minimum, so that you can realign yourself with his will and with his way, and he can just build you back up and kind of steer you in the right direction this time. And that's kind of like the concept and the lesson that can be learned from betrayal, because dealing with betrayal, it is a situation where you will feel broken. And during that time, you, like I said before, you know, it's something where you would genuinely seek God wholeheartedly, and it'll become a situation where you're just actively pursuing God to the point where you know, you just keep seeking and you just growing in intimacy with God, and it kind of helps heal you in that process, and it just kind of aligns you back with His will. And I think that's like another lesson too. I mean, I guess I can kind of tie into lesson 1, but you know, just kind of aligning you back up into that will with Jesus. So those are the 4 lessons that I feel can be learned from betrayal. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more, and I know that everybody's walk with Jesus is different, and I know that there are a lot of different places where people are in their lives, and you know, He can be teaching you different things through betrayal. However, these are just 4 that I feel that can kind of, you know, relate to people's situations. I hope this video was helpful in some type of way. I hope that you guys, I don't pray betrayal on y'all, because it's not something that's easy to deal with. However, I don't think it's something that we can escape because what God has for you, He has for you, point blank, period. But I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you guys have a great week, and I will see y'all next week. Bye guys.